Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another episode of the Tell No Lies podcast. This is episode 21.
Woohoo!
I didn't even realize last one we filmed was 20 to make a big announcement, but 21, we're
We're
getting
legal
there.
now.
We're legal now.
We're legal.
So I'm your host, Devin Physique, as always, and finally back again because she's been a little inconsistent through these last couple weeks. Ashley Contorno.
Hi. Hello.
Okay, so, the last episode obviously had Danielle on here and we did the
Yes.
whole comedy stuff. So I feel like now we kind of pivot that same concept, but into your reality because you have more experience with doing stand-up, right?
I've done it twice now.
Okay, so that was only, okay, so you only have one up on her then.
Mhm.
But you also, didn't you say you did it somewhere else? Like, it wasn't a stand-up, but like for someone's, like a...
No, it was stand-up. It was a 10-minute set, which is pretty advantageous for my first time ever doing comedy. There's a service or business, whatever you want to call it. It's called Tell No Lies. And they
Really?
are, Tell No Lies Comedy.
Really? Isn't that kind of like, was that intentional?
Wait, is it really Tell No Lies or am I just
Shit.
No, it is. I'm high. It's called Don't Tell Comedy.
Well, that was close.
It's close.
Don't tell no lies.
I might not ever smoke before an episode ever again.
And you said it so like to the point. Like you literally repeated our podcast name as the studio.
It's subliminal. I just want you guys to remember Tell No Lies. It's called Don't Tell Comedy. So they don't tell you where the venue is until like a couple days before, but it's non-traditional venue settings like a library, a nail salon, a gym, whatever, and they use it for the evening. They rent it out for the evening and have a comedy show. It's all professional comedians, typically ones that are just like working new material or something like that. So they approached and asked if we would have it at the gym. We were having an upcoming meet, and when we have a meet, we close the night before. So the gym was going to be empty and no one was going to be in there. I was like, let's do it then. And they said, okay. And I was like, there's one stipulation, and it's if you let me do a comedy set. And they agreed, and they gave me 5 minutes, and I said, I want 10. So I said, that's the only way you're going to do it, is if you let me do it. And then they did. And that's how I did my first comedy set.
Interesting. Okay, so to kind of piggyback off that, and then obviously doing a second one, what was one of the big differences between your first approach and the second?
Well, the time that I was on stage was a lot different. 10 minutes is a good amount of time where you can play with it. 3 minutes to me is not long enough. Some people are like, 3 minutes seems like forever. I'm like, I need like 5 to 10 minutes to tell my story,
Yeah, I think me and Danielle were talking about this on the last podcast, like, depending on what your approach is, like if you're telling a story, 3 minutes is not enough time because what are you going to get? 1 or 2 jokes off?
Right.
And I feel like those are the best ones is when you're doing kind of a story tell. If it's a minute, I can only think of like, firing them off.
Yeah.
But that one of the questions I had asked Danielle was, is the goal to tell the most epic, funny story, or is it to have a certain amount of funny jokes in the story?
Okay. So, but let me finish answering the first question. The difference was also that I was on my home turf. Like all my friends were there.
So you were comfortable.
On the first one. Like it was at my gym, And this one, I'm literally just in front of strangers in a place where I'm not from, So that was very different. As far as so I think, especially on an open mic night, there can be so many different strategies. And I'm not a professional comedian, but so I'm going to speak just through my lens with my experience. But I think there's a lot of things you can do. Like you can go up there and just want to do crowd work. That's not something I'm good at. That's probably something maybe I'll force myself to do one day, is just like interact with the crowd and get good at being comfortable and uncomfortable in doing that. You can tell a big story with other jokes within the story. And this is kind of like how I did it, is I was telling jokes that ended up telling a story full circle as opposed to a story with jokes in it. And I'm sure you can do one-liners, you can just think off the top of your head, put yourself on the spot. There's a lot of ways I think you can challenge yourself in a set.
No, so outside of you two and me paying attention to both of yours, I would say there was only a couple more that stood out to me. And unfortunately, the one that stood out to me the most was the cross-dresser.
Oh,
Like, I don't know why. He just brought so much funny
His
energy.
energy.
Yeah, it was just
Yeah.
insane. Like, it made his jokes even funnier.
Because he was in true character.
He was.
Yeah, and that's another form, right? It's an art form. So it's like you're taking an artist and they're in their expressive voice of how they want to show you their art. And the platform of that art is comedy or the medium, right? Just like someone can be a painter and they're painting and what are they using, oils or whatever. Like in comedy, there's so many different things you can embody to be a comedian. And one is having a character, you know?
And he was also a character that was making fun of himself.
Yeah.
And a lot of it too. And it's kind of similar to yours where you were using the widow aspect to, humor the jokes. And I was telling Danielle, I feel like if you come out as the widow making those jokes, everyone's going to feel comfortable to laugh if they felt that it was funny.
Yeah.
Because you're making fun of a scenario that you actually were a part of. Same thing with that crossdresser guy. Like, I think when he was like talking about like tucking it way behind and you're talking about how far away it was just funny because he's making fun of himself. So it makes it funnier when you're listening to that versus a trans that's trying to do it a certain way, but they're not making fun of themselves and they're being another way. It kind of could get awkward.
Yeah.
Because there was some in there that I didn't know how I felt about it.
Yeah, there was some interesting levels of preparation, we'll say, for the night
Yeah.
of what I watched.
And I didn't know what to expect, so I'd be blind to know who got stuck and who didn't, other than they just weren't funny. And they could have blown past the idea that they made all these mistakes.
Yeah.
I think the only ones I knew were making mistakes were the ones that were like, oh, I still have, 30 seconds left. Then I'm like, okay, these ones are fishing. The other ones, sometimes it took them the whole time just to tell me one story, and it didn't even last to be funny.
I went to a comedy on Saturday, and it was on, like, Danielle and I would have killed it harder than these comics did. They were all new comics. How they did it was like a comedy rumble. So they were battling, not like a mic battle, like, look at your hat, bro. It's fucking good.
That would be funny, though.
It would. It was, there was 8, and they got picked out of a hat randomly. They all had done an open mic, and then I think they got invited to do this. So they each did 1 minute of material randomly paired against each other, and the audience chose who was better. And then the next 4 do 3 minutes randomly chosen paired against each other. Then 2 at 5 minutes, and then the winner does 10
by itself.
So you would have had to have prepared 19 minutes of comedy in those intervals if you wanted to do this.
But would you just prepare like each one for each
Separate,
like as if you won the whole thing?
Well, they're all separate. So like
no, but you would prepare as if you were winning the whole thing because you do one for each level you increased.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot for it to end up being dead. Well, I guess you could use it for later for something else.
Yeah, I mean the girl who won, she was actually funny, but of the 8 that started, they could have been better.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and then even when Danielle fumbled, she made it funny within it. Like, used the first timer to her advantage to be able to slip up for a second to look down and enough for people to laugh, and boom, she was right back on it. But I think the one that was the most controversial for me was that kid from Cleveland, Ohio. I didn't know how I felt about him. Like, I couldn't tell if he was telling the Charlie Kirk thing like he was making fun of him. Because, I mean, a lot of it, there was the humor aspect, but was he really trying to be funny? And that was the thing I was asking her. As a comedian, you could push that boundary, and then you don't know if they're really serious or if they're just telling a joke.
I feel like that's the lure of comedy, that you never truly know what the motives are.
Well, then I just take my own interpretation from it, right?
You should.
Is that the goal, though? Like, if I labeled you a certain way by looking up at you that way, is a comedian okay with that, knowing they're pushing a boundary?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But that's their art, right?
Yeah.
They want to make you think. They want to make you feel. And art doesn't always make you feel good.
Yeah.
You know? Steven used to say that all the time. And anytime I watch a movie I hate or I feel uncomfortable, that plays in my mind. Art doesn't always make you feel good.
Yeah.
But what does make you feel good in life is the talking stage. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh.
That was my segue.
Was it?
So I come up with these topics, and I love talking about relationship things because we usually weave in Ashley's life story in there, and it's nice therapy for me since I don't have health insurance anymore.
Well, I think it also helps that we're talking about things that you're kind of actively going through too. So we get to really live it.
So I have 17 questions prepared about the talking stage. But what first does the talking stage mean to you?
Like, as far as the context?
Just how would you define the talking stage with someone? And then I'll say how I define it.
I mean, I guess I would put it in getting to know someone. To me, talking is insinuating that there's nothing exclusive. Okay, so it's not just you and them. I don't even think I'm having that discussion, right? Like if me and you were to embark in talking phase right now, I wouldn't be asking myself like how many dudes is this girl talking to? I would just be fixated on what we are sharing in that moment. And then as it progresses, normally for me, I don't put a time on it. I let it happen in the way it's supposed to. And so I don't say to myself, oh, it needs to, if I start to feel more, then the topic of discussion becomes more of a serious one from my side. So if I was at that talking stage, which to me is getting to know someone, we're hanging out a couple times, do I want to see them again? Do I not? You know, you kind of get an idea maybe even after the first time, like, can this escalate to more, right? So let's say the first time, boom, okay, well, is it long distance? Is it local? You know, that's also plays a factor too, because, you know, if it's local, I can weed that out even faster. But if it's not, you're just going strictly off conversation. So at what point in that dynamic do you say it escalates from talking to, like, to me it would be exclusive next?
We have more questions for that answer.
Okay, so the talking phase, I think it varies depending on how frequent you're seeing someone, and like once you start to go where you feel like you're progressing, maybe telling them more things, maybe things between you are getting a little bit more serious, that is you to vocalize your feelings and say, hey, I know we've been talking, but like I'm starting to feel more. Are we on the same page? And then jump to there.
Yeah. So I think the talking stage, I think there's 2 different definitions within it and what it is. So 3, when it starts, when it ends, and what is it filled with. Like it's an Oreo sandwich, the talking stage. So I think when it starts is, if it's like in app land, I think it's once you take it off the app.
So like if you got someone's number and you started texting them, that's already talking.
Yeah. Sometimes it lasts 5 minutes. Sometimes it lasts.
Okay. That puts it in more context, because I'm like, damn, then you're talking to a lot of people.
So that's what I think, that's the talking stage, right? We're talking.
Yeah.
And then if you meet somebody in person, like the moment you exchange phone numbers or whatever, I don't think it needs to be like a date. I think you could, because like I remember there was a guy back in December I talked to for 3 weeks before we went on a date. And that's from Appland. That's a long time in Appland.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's why I said if someone didn't live here and under the circumstances, let's say you were in, you know, where you just were in Salt Lake and you met someone there and yeah, you had a good time, when are you going to see them again? You could be another month.
Right.
So the long distance plays a factor in expediting. If it was local, I think you can expedite the talking. That's why how you say it is good, because there's no timetable on it, because it could be vastly different off of how long it took you to experience that with that person. You could stay in the talking phase for what, fucking 6 months, because you never, you know, that's all you guys were doing and not really getting together.
Yeah.
I mean, look at catfish, dude. They're in the talking phase for 6 months. They never even see them.
Right. Okay. So then I guess, so now, so that to me is what the talking stage starts with. Then what the talking stage is and isn't, and then when it ends, or when you transition into dating. So I would say what the talking phase is and isn't is like, you could be going out on dates, you could be texting and talking a lot, but I do think once the emotional boundaries cross to the point where you really have feelings for that person, then I think you need to move out of the talking stage, because that's so easy to just make a situationship.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, and that's where you have to openly come out and say that you're in that next stage, right? Because, you know, there could be, and I could speak for myself too, like from a guy's perspective, I feel like I've done this one way or another. Like you run that talking phase as long as you can. Like if she's not going to say anything, I'm not going to say anything. But then it also goes back to what I say. Maybe you just don't take her as serious to be that next stage yet. So you're waiting on her. But then at the same time, are you brave enough to tell someone when you feel that too? So there's tug and pull there. If you're not confident enough, you might not say anything until they do, right? And then you go into a phase where you start to feel something and it's not being reciprocated, but you're also not talking about it. You know, so I think it's important that whenever that phase changes from talking to, like what would you say, exclusive? Dating, something of that nature, then it's your voice that needs to be heard from the other one if they're not saying it already to you.
I just like tried to move out of the talking phase with someone into the dating phase, and I wouldn't say I got rejected, but I got let down gently that he's not ready. But I was.
Wait, did you tell me this?
Yeah.
No, because the last we spoke, you said that you were an item.
I FaceTimed you about it.
Yeah, but you didn't really say like how it ended to go the other way.
I don't want to tell the whole story.
Well, they don't get to know then. You tell them what you want to tell them.
Yeah. We'll talk about after the podcast
Okay,
the
that's fair.
particulars on that one.
Okay, well, you could just talk about the context of why you brought that up, anyways, because you obviously brought up the part that you were.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
And like this guy.
Okay, so
yeah.
for that conversation, okay,
Yeah.
so you're in the talking phase. You're progressing,
I
and you
stated
express it.
my claim that I would like to be your girlfriend.
Yes, and then
Because that's a very Ashley thing to do. I'm like, I want to be your girlfriend. So that
okay,
means...
so this happens, right? And there's nothing wrong with somebody saying they're not ready or no or whatever, right? It's honesty, right? So if you were honest to come up to them and say that that's the next phase and you get denied, what is your first thought in that moment of being let down softly? Is it, I'm regressing my feelings now because he doesn't think
That's
the same?
what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
Like, I felt hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I need to pull back.
The truth hurts.
But then I was like, no, he's not saying this from a demeaning place or that like
Yes.
he doesn't like me or anything. He just says he wants a little bit more time of discernment before he makes that decision. And then it actually made me think and reflect. And I'm like, that's probably a good idea, to be honest. I'm just like really excited when I see something I want it right now. And I honestly think because it's a long distance situation and I'm a like red flag, you know? I got a dead husband. I haven't had a boyfriend in 10 years. Like, fuck, you know? I would
Right.
want to wait on
You're
me too.
very very different red flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
It waves far in the back. You see that little fucker back there, but you don't know what's going on back
I
there.
don't know. So I just feel like I fought that initial instinct and then I self-reflected.
So
and
just like what Steven said to you about the art. What was it again? What was
it
the
doesn't
line?
always make you feel good.
Yeah, it doesn't, right? That
Yeah.
didn't make you feel good.
Yeah.
And that I think that's a part of the growth factor too is, okay, you tell the truth and then they respond to your truth in a way that you were not hoping to hear that.
But that's being vulnerable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
So you have to like stomach that, not project,
Yeah.
because I think it's natural to get offended and want to lash out at someone and go, man, he was able to be strong enough to tell me that. Because imagine how hard that is to say.
Yeah.
It's easy for someone of either sex to be like, oh yeah, I feel the same, but deep down they really don't. So just to say that, but I've been in so many situations like that where it's reminding me that I need to be in those types of feelings and feel that and know that it's not my fault and still feel what I felt, but realize, when to trigger those and when not to. And a lot of it is in the truth. It's like people hate to hear the truth.
I think I'm just excited about the possibility of what is there.
So you're jumping it.
And I also need to take a step back and reflect because there haven't been enough conversations to really delineate what our relationship would be. So I think that would be like the next phase is like when you're in the talking stage and you've talked enough about what your preferences are and what you want and what you don't want and those things align. Whereas I was kind of just jumping on, I really like this person. Like that's not enough, I feel like, to move out of the talking phase into something more substantial because you don't know if there's enough there for a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like why he checked the brakes. And now I'm glad that he did it. And I want to learn and figure out those things too to make sure that we're taking the next step in the right direction at the right time.
Now, did you just openly say that you wanted to progress it more? Were there any kind of conversations that led you to believe that you were on the same page together without having to ask?
Yeah, we had like a really big talk about being in an open relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when I was like, oh yeah, he gets it. This is the boy I want right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
Yeah, and I think that's part of it too, like the escalating of the relationship. What conversations are being had between the two of you? Obviously people could gaslight and say all the fucking shit to say, but if they're saying those things, then that means they're serious.
Yeah.
Right? So I would act that way. If it was the same way, if I was feeling the same way. So obviously in your conversations too, you were feeling like you guys were on the same page at some point. To Phil, you also were willing to say, I'm going to ask this guy because I feel like he's going to say yes. Did you feel like you were going to get denied?
No, I felt like it was going to be a total yeah. But I'm glad it happened the way it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you got to feel what that felt like and then reprocess it. I think the big thing is not letting it affect how you feel about the dude.
Yeah, and I don't.
And I think that's the big thing. And that I've had scenarios where, being honest, push someone completely away from me, but that tells me they're not ready for someone like me, let alone a relationship. Because if you can't handle some little shit like this of me being honest, what if some shit was worse and it was honest?
Yeah.
And you're going to you handle this simple thing like that. So it's just most people aren't used to hearing the truth.
Tell me the truth. How many women are you in the talking stage with right now?
One.
Your lips quivered.
Yeah, that was a pressured
It
conversation.
was. It was. How many at one time do you think is an appropriate number?
Well, I feel like with my work, well, I guess I don't know. Like that's kind of a tough one because I feel like sometimes when I'm single and I'm in my workspace, I'm flirty with them, but it's because it's part of the excitement of building the content, right? So I think that kind shifts if I was being more exclusive with someone. I probably wouldn't have that type of nature. So it depends on where I'm at. But if I'm in the talking stage, to me, it's everything. But I'm not asking them. So whatever they're doing outside of our time together, I'm not worried about it. So to me, talking is you could talk to 10 people, and then weed them out. You've had to do that, and I've had to do it. And the difference between me and you is you weed them out too fast.
Yeah, I do.
And then you're stuck with one, and you're like, "Fuck, this wasn't it." So I think to me, also like from my own experiences, like I always say the 3-month thing, like I wouldn't even want to start talking about that they're any significant to me, like on a social media or maybe my close friends, like I've told you girls that I'm talking to or whatever. Like, but other than that, I don't like to publicize stuff until I feel in my heart that they're there for the long haul, at least in that moment, right? And there's only been a few girls that I can feel that for, right?
Okay, so would you say that? So for you, it's like around 3 months is kind of like
That would start to
hallmark.
me where it would go to like more serious.
Right. Now, within that 3 months before that mark, are you privately taking them out of the talking stage and putting them in the dating stage, but you're just not publicly announcing it?
A lot could be that way, 100%. Usually if I start aggressively talking to someone, I'm fixated on that.
What would you do if you're talking to a chick for like a month and you guys progress out of the talking stage and you're dating and you don't publicly post her or say, and she gets upset?
I would tell her, well, see, I'm really big on like, don't tell me when to post, and I've had girls in the very early stage and I just don't like that because then that tells me you're forcing me to do it, and why are you worried about that? But I also don't ask them to do it. So I have a grounds to talk on because I'm not pressing you. Do they do it on their own? Yeah, most girls just do it. I don't have to ask or say anything. But
or what if like she tagged you in a story and you didn't repost it? And
I usually don't. To be honest, I'm straightforward. There's very few. If I did, like that's just a secret to try and get me to post. Is how I see it. And I've had girls like, are you gonna repost it? I'm like, no, bitch. Like that's what I'm thinking in my head. Like because why does it feel forced? And I've just been in relationships or with people where I feel like people take advantage of me. So I just already have not that I think everyone's the same, but I have a specific guard of where my threshold is that I'll go to until I feel like there's permanent residency here. And again, I could think this girl
permanent residency.
Okay, like my
Devin,
ex,
I want to be a permanent resident.
I mean, my last relationship was 5 years ago.
I know.
It's been almost as long as you. Okay, but my last relationship was with my ex. So, I mean, she had Mrs. Physique. So, like, for me, it was a permanent residency, which means I was posting her everywhere. Did it work that way? No, she's not here anymore. So that was not a permanent residency. But it was in that moment when I decided to put her on my platform.
Yeah.
There's only one other girl besides her.
It's a big deal for you.
It is a big deal because it is work related and then like, the occasional things that I do personally, but I guess I'm not a big believer in that social media needs to validate my relationships,
Yeah.
I'd rather have it secret in the sense of like I'm enjoying what I have with that person because social media is work to me. So when I put someone on there, just like you have friends, like they put people on 2 months later, it's someone else. I don't want to be that person.
Yeah.
And then no one would take me serious. So I've always had a
permanent residence only.
Yeah, that permanent residency. Like, like the DJs, they get that permanent residency. Well, you're in Vegas, baby.
Yeah.
That's a permanent. When you get that permanent residency, you know what's up.
I know what's up.
You know what's up.
I won't be in the talking stage with more than 3 guys at once.
No, why 3? Like, where do we get to the number
It's
of 3?
just
Like,
like
if we're at 3, why not 5?
It's just a magic number because then I forget what the fuck I say to these boys.
What you're saying is 3 is the max that you can
juggle.
hold. Yes.
Yes.
Because at 5 now you're saying like I don't really care to talk to this person.
And like if they're needy to me, like 3 is a lot to be needy to want to like message,
Well, I also think it's different from girls and guys, but also what's the nature of the conversations between the 3 you're talking to? Like, for instance, this Brick guy, you talk to him, like if, let's say we're doing it in texting form, you're maybe saying 5-7 text messages a day.
Voice messages, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the end of it. So you might meet another guy where you guys are texting every, in the hour, it's pretty consistent every hour, right? So that I think that plays a big factor too.
Yeah, for sure, because otherwise I need personal time, and I feel like 3, and then if you don't give one enough attention, then it's real easy for people to ghost you when you've only met on an app.
So that's why the talking with several people could be easy, because Britt only really requires 7 a day. That's not very many.
It's not very many.
So this guy over here, he could require 15.
That's
so you might have to say to yourself, like, how many texts can I do a day? Because that's really what matters. Because if each guy is wanting your attention the same way, 3 would be a lot.
I would just say, for me, it's like a lot of guys want to advance things too sexual too fast, which you all know me, okay? But it lessens the connection when it goes right to sex or like something like that. So I like try to stay away from those guys, or get them to like just actually talk to me about themselves. Like, hey, I actually just had to say that to someone the other day, like, when you are aggressively pursuing sexual connection, you don't get any other connection, because now I'm looking for something different, right? So I'm like telling these guys that that's not what I'm looking for, and it's changing the dynamics of how quickly they get the axe on my talking stage. I would say they last sometimes from 5 minutes to, if I talk to...
Wait. Can we hold up for a second? I was not expecting 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
I thought I was thinking in like a couple days. Fuck,
5 minutes.
The fact that that's even in the stat line.
Okay, so if I get someone's telephone number and we take it off the app, I would say it's like 24 hours to, if by day 3, if we haven't set up a date, you're usually fizzles out.
And you don't do anything on Instagram? You don't find people there?
Never.
That's wild.
Never.
I feel like if I was to find people, that's where I find. Like, to me, Instagram is like going to the bar. I would never go to the bar, so.
The dudes that are in my DMs are not.
Well, the dudes in my DMs too, because that's what it is.
But also, like, I am entertaining one person that is long distance. I don't want to entertain anything else long distance. Because
you know what that looks like.
It already is not, like, preferred. I would like to have a cuddle buddy.
So it makes it easy, but him, in the stage you're at, it makes it easy to add another person because he doesn't require a lot of attention.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying, like, that's why you could easily talk to 2 people or talk to 3. If everyone was the Brick guy, you could probably easily have 5. I'm just saying, it depends on the workload.
I also am, because like ethical non-monogamy is so new to me, I'm not sure how it will feel to divide my attention in that way. So that is a new bridge that I'm gapping. That's not the phrase I was looking for.
Bridge I'm gapping.
Bridge I'm gapping. I don't think
made sense.
I don't think that's a phrase.
If you would have kept going, I would have just been like, I would have thought you were just fucking
Bridge
philosophical.
I'm crossing. Yes, that's better.
Yeah, no, I feel like over time when you start gravitating towards one, even if the Brick guy was not very much, you might still be satisfied by him because that fucking fly, dude. I knew this fucker was coming in here.
There's one fly in your whole house, and it fucking made it in this room.
Yeah, every once in a while we get that fuck in here. I wonder if it's the same one.
Fucker.
But yeah, I think when it comes to talking phase, regardless, at some point you're gonna start gravitating towards somebody. Right? Characteristics, personality, conversation. The more someone lasts, the more you learn about them. So at some point, if you had 3, I would assume to myself that the other 2 are going to kind of weed themselves out. It's very few occasions where they're going toe for toe.
Yeah.
Then you're like, fuck, I've been in that situation before. And the toe for toe, it just makes it a little bit trickier.
Well, that's why I really like this Brick guy, and I don't want him to go anywhere, but I would also like to add something more because he is so busy and there isn't a ton of communication, and Ashley needs a little bit more attention.
Yeah, but that's the whole point of the open relationship.
Right. So there's
plenty of room.
There's still a second slot.
There's plenty of room.
But they're not really 1 and 2. Anyways, that's a different conversation. Do you feel like social media influences the talking stage?
What would you mean, like influence?
I think we've touched on a couple of things, like 1, finding people on social media, but 2, like wanting to make someone post you. I think that can try and influence what's going on.
Oh, you mean like to try and trigger what's going on between someone?
Like, oh, I saw you like this person's post, but like, like how it could manipulate the talking stage.
Well, I mean, I think anything, right? You can go, oh, Devin and Ashley don't follow each other. They're probably not friends, right? So there's so many things that could ignite that. I don't know about the liking, because how do you know when you like that photo? If it was like a week ago, it could have been, what day did you like it? So I guess yes and no. I think more about the validating of like posting someone to validate you're with them. To what is that going to secure? I also think to myself like, okay, I post you, then what? It validates you.
It's like being Facebook official. For some people, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
For me, where I'm at in the stage, I probably wouldn't introduce a partner on my social media publicly for a long time.
Yeah, I think my main thing is like, am I secure in my relationship, and have we developed the things that are important to me before? And again, I have a lot of followers, so it's not like I'm just putting you anywhere.
Yeah.
And my page is the way it is. So,
Yeah.
What if I posted someone and that led to people thinking that they can get it too because of my workspace or just stupid shit? So I think for me, if my relationship with the person I'm working towards a relationship with is good, why would I want to ruin that? And if only validating what we have is through the social media thing, then we're not on the same page. But I've been strong about that, though. Like anything else, I'm going to be more like my ex. She never asked me to post, and I posted her all the time. Why? Because she didn't ask. To me, I got to do it on my terms when I wanted to. And if someone's in the back of my ear telling me how to be me, then that also is negatively influencing me. I don't want to do it. I'm less likely to do something if you're telling me to do something.
Yeah.
Especially my shit, and the way I handle it. And I've always been that way. So I think that's how I kind of maneuver through things. Is that person influencing me? And if not, I'm probably more likely going to post because I'm getting to do it in a free space.
Devin doesn't like to be told what to do.
Mm-mm. King of OnlyFans, being told what to do. Yeah, it makes sense.
I had my question. I keep losing it. Okay. Have you ever just gotten the talking phase with someone because you were bored?
Because I was bored.
I would say yes, for sure.
You have?
For sure. Yeah. And then the next morning I wake up like, fuck, now I got this guy texting me and he's medium ugly.
Damn.
I gotta end it.
But you went to medium ugly?
Medium ugly. Yeah.
No, I don't.
They'll just text you all fucking night long. Every once in a while I do it when I'm really bored. A lot of times it's really engaging conversation, but unfortunately, Robert, I don't want your dick inside of me. Yeah.
So what was the objective at the time of doing it?
Like I'll just be swiping and there's
alone?
no one that I'm interested in. So then I kind of like lower my own standards for that moment and I swipe on a medium ugly guy and then he's of course is like.
Oh, you're talking about like I was thinking like pre-existing people, like you were bored that night, couldn't hit anything, so you went and hit up some. Oh, you're talking about the app.
I don't ever recycle.
Well, remember, I don't have a lengthy experience on the app or any lack thereof, because we even talked about this before. You said you went to Utah and you had like 500 matches. Like
it was overwhelming.
Dude, in the time that I was doing it, I never had matches like that. Not even close. I think it's way different. More females are going to be attracting men than the other way around.
Yeah.
Or dudes probably on it a lot more frequently than women are.
This is like the first trip I've been on in like 6 months that I haven't tried to date or fuck anybody.
See, to me, yeah, why would you go less than just to speak to someone only to regret it? So in my opinion, I would say no. Like that would if I was in your scenario, that would never happen, because if I'm entertaining someone, that means that I'm doing it like I would be entertaining anyone else. This with the same mindset. So if it's less than, I would then why'd you even swipe on it?
Well,
I remember when I had
I'm just admitting that I was bored.
At one time when I had it, just because I was lazy, I was just swiping on everyone.
Yeah,
and then when the wrong person like matches with me, I'm like, obviously I did that on accident when I was doing the automatic. So I just unmatched.
Suicide swipe.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. It made it easier.
Yeah.
And then I just unmatched when I didn't like it or whatever.
What would you say to someone who is like getting stuck in the talking stage over and over again and they're not getting a progression into the dating phase?
Move on. I mean, that's what I would tell them.
What do you think is the hallmark to changing over, being emotionally vulnerable?
What do you mean change over?
From the talking stage to like a dating phase.
Oh, like what makes it more serious?
Yeah. What is like the substance piece that you feel?
I think the conversations being had between the two of you, like, are you talking about a future, what it looks like? Do you want kids? Like, are you having those conversations? What kind of conversations are you having? How many times have you been together? Obviously, if you've been together several times, that tells me that girl is just as interested as I am. And then again, to me, the texting does matter to a sense, because the ones to me that are so infrequent, to me, I guess my view on the texting is, yeah, you could be busy, but you could still make it a point, no matter how busy you are. Even the Brit guy, he could be more communicative than what he's doing. It takes 2 seconds.
I don't disagree.
So it's, to me, because I'm telling you as a man,
I can't let him listen to this episode now. Shit.
from my perspective, and I'm being honest, is if I take longer, 9 times out of 10, I'm just less interested.
But also, there's merit to wanting to respond when you're fully present and not distracted.
100%. And I've been there because I've also said when I've talked to girls like, hey, listen, I have the luxury of working from home, which means I have my phone. But that doesn't mean that just because we text all day long, there isn't going to be times where you don't hear from me for 6
Right.
hours or 8 hours or whatever. It's just how consistent, you know, I've dated some girls where like the Scotty Joe chick. I mean, there'd be times I didn't hear from her for 6 hours. You know, and to me, I match your energy. I think we've spoke about this. If you take 6 hours, I'm going to mock you on purpose, and I'm going to do it too. And I'll wait. I'll wait 6 hours. I could do that.
Yeah, see, I don't play those games.
But how long is that going to go? So for me, if it continues and I have to continue to play your game, how long do I want to play the game? And then at some point, I'm going to get annoyed or bored or whatever,
But
and I move on.
some people just aren't great texters, like my friend Kiara, for example.
But then I would say to myself, then you're not for me.
But I don't mind, like, as long as, for example, with the Brit, like, he's fully open and communicative about his day, about what's going on. Like, we'll send each other like 10, 15-minute voice messages sometimes.
Mind you, we're talking about somebody that has progressed into something more serious.
But even through our talking stage, that's how the communication was. But he likes to respond when he's fully present. He's not like an I'm on my phone guy whatsoever.
No, I get that. As long as he's I'm not a part of it. So to me, if that's the part of it and it's distance like that, are you communicating that?
But on the flip side, yeah, there's like other guys where, you know, you'll hear from them yesterday at 10 a.m. and then they text you again like, hey, what's up?
Or continue the convo.
Yeah.
Like, even if he said at the beginning of his day, hey, you're not going to hear from me at all today, that's it. He could literally say that. I'll text you when I get home. Boom. That's communicating. I'm not expecting someone to text me all day long because I know the inconsistencies. So even if someone texted me aggressively and then all of a sudden they went out of nowhere, if there was consistency of that, I'd be a little skeptical.
It's about the expectation, for sure.
Yeah, so for me, it's all about how much do I want to talk to this person too. And if I don't really care to, then if I saw your text, it wouldn't bother me to take 2 hours.
Yeah, I wish I would talk to the Brit more, but I understand his perspective, and there's always an expectation.
And it's whatever you guys are obviously feeling from one another. If you felt like he wasn't giving you enough, then that's your job to say something or move on.
Okay, let me ask you a question. So if you were talking to someone and you told your buddy about that chick, and then your buddy comes to you like the next week and is like, hey, I saw that chick that you're talking to on Tinder, would you be upset?
So I've actually had scenarios like this too of people I've talked to where I've had the app on mine and it pops up. You know, you get random, not even notifications that someone matched with me, just like an update or something. So I've had those scenarios where I'm like, oh, what are they going to say? And most girls make a little gesture. They do. They all do. And then that just tells me they care. Because obviously, why would you say something to me? So for me, it's just simple as like in that moment, if I was talking to someone, then I would just delete them. And that was the end of it because it is that to me. I've had them because I have no reason not to. You know, like for you right now, like you do it. So if you met someone that was irritated by that, then he can ask you and just say, hey, yeah, I've been on it since before we obviously met and now we're talking and I'll delete it if that's what you chose to do. I mean, that's kind of how I would handle it. So for me, if it was done to me, I would be asking the same questions, wondering. And then if they told me what they told me, then I believe them. Move on.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Are you in fear that that's not turned on?
No, we just had a minor technical issue, but it's
You
okay.
sure it's on?
It's on.
All right.
Is this thing on? It's on.
All right.
We don't need no more problems.
But does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I think, again, for me, communication's so big.
I would say as long as you guys haven't discussed that specifically, like I'm off the dating apps or you off the dating apps, then I think it's fair game to stay on. Like, and it's kind of personal preference. Like some people like to talk to a lot of people in the talking stage until things progress to a certain point where they feel like they don't want to talk to anybody else. And it's like always having options, like the numbers game.
I've actually never encountered any girl that I've dated or anything talked to that had one. So I've never had to have that discussion, but it's been about me because I've always just had it there just from just having it.
Do you feel like if someone's just looking for something casual that changes even like having a talking phase because there's no, like, do you feel like there has to be intention?
I guess that's person to person because yours would be like, you mean something casual where you weren't interested in like anything else but sex?
Yeah, no, I feel like the talking phase applies either way because even when I was just wanting sex and not wanting to date, I would still want to have enough conversation with them to make sure that I like them enough to want them to put their dick inside of me.
Well, I mean, I guess for me, I can say there's been plenty of people I've hung out where it could never lead to anything, but I enjoyed their company and everything, but I never wanted anything more.
Yeah.
But the talking part leads to, can I hang out with this person and then still enjoy their company? Kind of like what you're looking for. It's like they give you everything, but you know it's not going to lead to anything. you know, and you're not when they leave your place or whatever, when you guys hang out, what they do on their spare time does not bother you. I think that's another thing too. Like when it comes to the talking and the next part, like does what that person is what they're doing, does it bother you? Like if they were doing their own thing, does that bother you? And I can count as many as I was in those scenarios where it never bothered me, which means they're not significant where I had feelings in that way.
Yeah. I mean, I think when you're thinking of that person, like a lot throughout the day and they're taking up all that head.
You're fucking fly, dude.
It's fucking fly, dude.
Dude, I just need a fly swatter. He's just parking on my fucking hat, dude.
I should bring one from home next time. It likes you right now. It's because you're wearing a neon hat. It's attracted to your hat like a bug light.
Yeah, whatever. This isn't a bug's life.
Okay, we're gonna go on to a different segment. Unless you have something else about the talking stage you'd like to express.
I'm rolling with the punches.
We're punching and we're rolling. So we're gonna start doing a little fun segment at the end of each episode, and this one is going to be random things that kill people annually. We're gonna let Devin guess how many. Are you ready?
No,
but okay. How many people do vending machines kill a year?
Re-say it again.
How many people a year do vending machines kill?
And is this like in the entire world, in the U.S.?
This is specifically the United States.
So like they get trampled by a vending machine.
Like they're like trying to get them chips and they're fucking angry
and
at
it. Just fell on
and
them.
it fell and it literally kills them.
1,000.
That's very egregious.
How many?
It's under 20.
Oh my God. But that's.
I mean, you think 1,000 people knock over a vending machine on them and die?
I don't know. You aim high because if I said lower and it wasn't.
Bob Barker, it's under 20. How many?
Oh, so it's under 20.
Yeah.
5.
13 people a year.
13 people.
From tipping them
That's
over.
really not that many at all.
But still, 13 people die.
You kind of have to be stupid to fucking have that thing tip on you and die.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Those 13 people a year. This is like life insurance statistics.
Jesus.
Okay. Worldwide, how many people a year die from a coconut?
From a coconut?
From a coconut.
A coconut.
To the head.
To the head.
Not from allergic reactions, from a coconut falling on their head.
See, and this is hard because it opens it up. Can you at least... There's no, like, parameters at all?
Did you give Danielle parameters?
I didn't.
How many people a year die from trying to kill a fly?
Okay, I'm going to say 100.
You're closer than the first one.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of numbers.
This is slightly more.
127.
150 people die per year.
So are all of these even numbers that I don't need to guess, like, specifics? Like, you should tell me that.
They're all pretty round numbers.
Okay, good.
Like, well, 13 wasn't.
No.
They're all over the place, Devin.
Okay, well, you can just tell me if it's a rounded number so I could be a little bit more specific.
This one surprised me, and I think this statistic is false because I do a lot of hiking, and I see a lot of people in very high altitude places taking dangerous selfies.
So how many people died doing selfies?
How many people a year taking selfies?
Died.
I think this is very skewed.
In the world?
Yes.
Died doing it. I mean, that could be a lot because, I mean, you could be anywhere, right? And so you could just fall off a cliff. 1,000.
It says only 30.
That seems low.
It does seem low. Should we get a secondary source?
That seems low. Man, I'm just thinking like there's so many more deaths for stuff like this.
Let's ask Google.
3?
30.
30? I mean, what was the vending machine? 13?
Yeah.
Damn. Well,
Right.
I mean, didn't you find that from what, you chat GPT that?
I found these statistics from different sources on the internet. 2021, 379 selfie-related fatalities.
Yeah, 30 seemed low.
Okay. I'm
because there's so many scenarios that you could be in that would, it's not just, you're not just taking one like this,
Right.
You could also be taking one and then boom, something happens to you right
you get
then
hit
and
by
there.
a fucking train
Yeah.
because you're standing in
Taking
the middle of the
selfie,
road.
Yeah, right in the fucking train track like an idiot. Look, the train's coming. Oh shit, it's hitting me. Boom, dead.
Okay, icicles, specifically in Russia.
Like landing on them and killing
Yes.
them in a year.
Just in Russia alone.
The way you make it sound seems like it's a lot.
Icicles.
And is this just a even rounded up number?
It is.
Okay, I'm going to say 50.
It's more.
More, 100.
It is 100
Wow.
deaths per year in Russia alone.
That's scary.
For my cycles.
I mean, shit, there's probably a lot of icicles then.
Yeah. Okay, this one I thought was a very interesting one. Champagne corks.
Someone just popping it off and
Popping
just.
off,
But how
fucking
could you die from that? Like through your mouth, like choke on it, or
choke
like?
on it through the eye socket. Fucking.
I'm gonna say 5.
It's got to be some gnarly impact.
5.
Cork accidents. Often at celebrations, 24 people die a year.
24 idiots.
Yeah.
That's more than the vending
But
machine.
that's like innocent bystander, whereas the vending machine, you're the maker of your own demise.
But I mean, and
You're
there's
rocking
less.
and rolling,
There's
and then that shit
less.
falls on you. Right. I know. But like those 24 people that died are probably they're not probably
Oh,
the
they
people
weren't the
fucking
ones
doing the
doing-
champagne.
Yeah.
It's
well,
fucking Aunt Helen over there, takes a fucking champagne bullet to the eye socket and dies.
facts.
Yeah.
Wasn't there something in Dumb and Dumber where they had that bird and they killed it on accident at the
I
party?
don't know if I've ever really watched that movie or if I've just watched clips from that movie.
And it would be like some dumb shit, like you killed the bird, and he was doing something like that too. I forget what it was.
Oh,
That's funny. That was it?
that was it. Should I have prepared more?
No, I just was curious.
That
I
was
mean,
it.
you were prepared for more. You know, I only did the one with her where I did the top 5 makes, and she couldn't even do the makes, and she's like, "That was it? Just one?" She wanted more.
Oh.
You know, I was like, "No, well, I mean, you failed so terribly. I should have had more. I should have just said skip this." She said I didn't know anything about cars. I was like, "Oh my god, skip."
You got one fully correct.
She was the first car she guessed was her own.
She's like, I'm a drug dealer.
Yeah, that was the first thing she guessed.
I think next episode I want to talk about like the death of the American dream. Oh no, actually the next episode we have a guest. As long as he shows up.
Yeah, so we'll see.
And then the death of the American dream because my dream died. So let's talk about other people's who died.
That's fair.
All right.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us with another episode. We're glad to have Ashley more consistent now. For now.
I was on vacation.
Well, and then you were on vacation again.
I just like to vacation.
You're staying for a bit.
I'm here
She's staying for a bit.
for a month.
Yeah, and then she's gone. You just never know. It's like a ticking time bomb. So she's gonna close us out because I've had to close out the last couple ones, and I've just decided like
We know
it's a
Devin's not great at
it's a
it.
mulligan. So
Follow Devin at Devin Physique, Ashley Contorno here on Instagram, and Tell No Lies Podcast. And then catch us on tellnoliespodcast.com. Tell No Lies Podcast on YouTube. Thank
see,
you.
There's so much grace with that. Until next time, guys. Peace.
Bye.